Good evening, good people. We're just giving it a second for folks to get in here. We'll be getting started shortly. Good evening, good people. Welcome, welcome. We're just giving it a few moments to make sure all the live streaming things are connected. We will be getting started shortly. Good evening, beloveds. Welcome to tonight's May Day call. I'm so grateful that you're here. My name is Ashley Woodard Henderson, and I'm going to be your MC for this evening. Y'all, what an incredible and historic May Day we just lived through. You all showed that when labor and community come together, we can shut things down and we can build together to meet the needs of our people. We saw Black and brown and working class, intergenerational folks all coming together across our differences. We saw disruption of the bad billionaire bosses like Bezos at Amazon and Hilton for housing ICE. We saw folks hit the New York Stock Exchange for profiting off of our misery and more. And throughout all of it, workers and community flexed together. From Operation Push in Chicago to a die-in at XAI in Memphis, Tennessee. Y'all, but that's not all that's happening. We had the biggest and broadest May Day in U.S. history, and yet our opponents are still on the attack. After the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, they're moving right away to take away Black voters' rights across the South. And they're intending to pass redistricting in a special legislative session in my home state of Tennessee in the next few days. We're going to share some ways to take action before this meeting is over. But before I go a step further, it's going to be super critical that we make sure that this call be inclusive as possible. So I want to toss it to Erica from our language justice team to give us our interpretation announcement. Erica, I'll toss it to you.
Hi everyone, this is Erika Perez. So tonight's meeting will be English and Spanish, and we have a guest who will be speaking in Spanish. So it's very important for you to choose the right channel. It's already activated. My colleague Vanessa is already interpreting, and you can just go at the bottom of your screen. You will see a little glove or where it says more and find language interpretation. So it's important for you to choose English, and you can hear our guest speaker be interpreted into English. He will be speaking in Spanish. If you're using your smartphone or your tablet, please, there's 3 dots at the bottom. Tap there, find language interpretation, choose English, and make sure to press done. And just for the speakers, to have this inclusive space, please mindful of the pace, just the regular pace. Thank you so much. And I will say this in Spanish. Buenas noches. Yo soy Erika y estaré interpretando con Vanessa, mi colega Vanessa, que
Good evening, my name is Erika and I'm going to be interpreting with my colleague Vanessa. She's interpreting right now. So it's going to be really important for you to look for the interpretation channel. If you want to listen in Spanish, so you're going to see a globe where you're going to click there. And if you want to listen in Spanish, you'll just click there. That if you're connected through your phone or a tablet, you're gonna look for the 3 dots at the bottom right corner where it says more. So you click there and then you choose interpretation language, you're gonna choose Spanish, and then it's important to choose done. It's also a lovely reminder to speak at a moderate pace. Over to you.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Vanessa. Can we show some love to our interpretation team for this evening? They are doing incredible work to make sure that all of our participants can be here fully. So thank you again for being here. Y'all, again, if you're just now joining, I'm Ashley Henderson. I'm going to be your MC for the evening. We're going to celebrate the incredible work that you all did for May Day to make it one of the most historic I've ever lived through. That's for sure. We were big, we were bad, we were bold. We worked together across difference, and we made impossible things possible through that structure test that we did last Friday. So I'm just grateful to each and every one of you. But I know you're on tonight because you also want to know what needs to be done next. The work didn't end on Friday. So you're going to get to hear from leaders you can trust, both about what we did, the history that we made, but you're also going to hear about what's coming for the May Day Strong movement. I'm so excited and moved beyond measure every time you all choose to be here. This would be a great time for you to tell folks online and in your group chats and your listservs that you're on the call tonight. I know we can get more folks here, so I want you to text 3 people. I want you to go on your socials. I want you to tag Mayday Strong. Let folks know that you are here with us tonight. And as we always do, be sure to introduce yourself in the chat. Say your name, where you're calling in from. If you want to rep an organization, feel free to shout that out too. Now, what do you say we get into tonight's call? The first leader is no stranger to our people. She's the beloved Stacey Davis Gates, president of the Chicago Teachers Union and the Illinois Federation of Teachers. Stacey, I will toss it to you, my dear.
All these years on Zoom and I still can't get it
You
right.
got it. You got it.
Hey, Ashley, it is always good to be in your presence. I always feel love, energy, and support for the hard work we have to do. But I also feel like the joy and what we were able to pull off together on May 1. You know, some of you may have heard or not that there was a bit of a struggle here in Chicago because we don't dream small dreams, we dream big dreams. And this time we made May Day a holiday to be recognized in the school district where our members work. And we thought that that was significant because teachers often need the hook to give the civic education both to the student and to the family. And on this May Day, we were able to have some of the smallest voters engage at Operation Push and the house that Reverend Jackson built. Days after the Supreme Court told people like me that our services in maintaining democracy isn't needed anymore. It felt good to be in a space with Black children and Black teachers celebrating our patriotism as workers. Many of you have heard me say before that it was enslaved Africans who left plantations that gives us the general strike, that produces this democracy that gives us more. And we were able to tell that lessons in dimension. Also with our Latinx students and within their families, those who have survived some of the worst terrorism by the ICE and Homeland Security. They were able to lock arm in arm in Chicago, Black and brown, young and old, throughout labor, throughout community groups, and say that this is our America, we are the people, and we believe that workers have power to transform, to sustain this democracy and create an expanded opportunity for all of us. This upcoming general election in Chicago, we'll vote for the first fully elected school board that the city has ever seen. My labor union did that in coalition with the community, and we did it with the mayor who was then the organizer. Chicago is a space for great experimentation on how we get more out of less. While the rest of the world is turning to fascism, in Chicago, we are expanding this opportunity for democracy and for the people who need it most. But that's not going to be enough because we know we can't live on an island, which is why it was absolutely wonderful to see all the teachers decked out in red in North Carolina, why it was absolutely urgent to see the occupation of roadways and hotels, to push back because we have to practice that resistance. But we also have to make sure that we are organizing and meeting the needs of the people who are both in our union and in our communities. So we have to talk to them. We have to tell them the word and. We have to legislate and we have to litigate and we have to vote. But all of that has to matter because we are organizing them to an expansion of democracy. We are organizing them to more. So, you know, if the right wing is mad at us, if Fox News can't keep our names out of their mouth, that means that we did what we were supposed to do. So listen, I want to make sure that we see this as a test of many tests. And so stay mobilized because we're going to continue the solidarity schools throughout the country. So if you haven't caught one yet, you can catch one. If you haven't told your friends about it, your colleagues about it, you get to do it now. Number two, we're going to fight for more investment. The rich do have to pay their fair share. That's not just a rallying cry. That's an actual fact. So in places like Illinois and Tennessee, the labor and community coalitions are pushing for more. Mayday Strong is going to celebrate how America became more expansive, more dimensional by telling the story of workers, and in particular, telling the story of Black workers, of female workers, of queer workers, of all workers, to make sure that the America that we are trying to build is more expansive, more inclusive. So I want to say this, Mayday Strong is a space in which we get to strategize, where we get fellowship, where we get to practice community. But we're not practicing just because it makes us feel good. We're practicing this because it is our organizing, our vision, our ability to coalesce together that is going to save us, right? And I'll end it on this. I'm a high school history teacher, and I can tell you that there's never been a movement that has created more for all of us that did not include our young people, that did not include workers, that did not include the community. So I will tell you, the lesson that we take back today is that make sure young people are in this movement and that they're leading us. Number two, make sure that you are making room for your Black and brown leaders and organizers, because it only works when it works for all of us. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Mayday Strong. Let's keep it going. The power is in the people.
Yeah, and thanks for always reminding us of that, Stacey, and embodying the leadership that is an open invitation for people to get down with our movement. We love you. Thanks for making time for the call tonight. Y'all, you're already seeing tech folks. Shout out to all the folks that are making this call possible, including the tech folks. They're dropping links in the chat that you can take action with right now. The first being filling out the form to connect with partners that are near you. So I want you to click that bit.ly link to join the Mayday Strong movement and make sure that you stay in touch with the organizations that are doing the hard and important work on the ground. Next up to you again, no stranger. He's my brother. He's my friend. He is my party leader. Shout out to the Mighty Working Families Party. I can't wait for y'all to hear a good word from Maurice Mitchell. Mo, I will kick it to you next.
Oh, thank you so much, Ashley. I'm here on the streets of New York City, and I'm so happy to be with you, Ashley. I'm so happy to be with everybody. My sister, one of the baddest, one of the most focused and committed labor leaders in our country, Stacey Davis Gates, and all the other folks who are lined up to speak to you today. I can't tell you how honored I am to be with you. And listen, my name is Maurice Mitchell. I'm the national director of the Working Families Party. If you have access to the chat, then we're going to do a virtual chant, because the Working Families Party is the political party that is focused like a laser to make sure that our government works for working people and isn't captured by corporations and oligarchs and the bosses, but is actually beloved and held in the hands of the people. So when I say, who are we? Write in the chat, WFP, capital W, capital F, capital P. The WFP is your party. And look, we're coming off another powerful May Day, people. And look, this is an exciting moment for us to reflect on what we've done. And like, look, people have raised their voices in the streets, online, and in their communities. I've heard those voices. I feel so encouraged. And for as much bad news as there is, the good news is this: the people are still fighting back. We are not surrendering to despair because despair is a political project of the far right and the bosses. I wake up every day doing this work because the people have spoken. They're fed up with an economy that doesn't work for them and a political system that shuts them out. And our people are looking for something else. The Working Families Party is that something else. We are in a rare window, one that could shape this country for a generation. Because the truth is, the people in power have been waging a one-sided class war against working people for decades. And now, more than any time in recent memory, people are rising up. This is the rising, pissed off majority. Millions answer the call for May Day. Over 5,000 actions across the country. That's not a moment. It is a movement. It is a growing and building movement. I can feel that momentum coming from May Day Strong. And people are fighting because in the richest country in the world, the working people who keep this country running are getting robbed. Worse, they're being shut out of a democracy they're supposed to control. That's why we launched the Working Families Guarantee. In a country with more than enough wealth, people are struggling to afford the basics. The Working Families Guarantee draws a line: a home you could afford, healthcare you can rely on, a good union job, childcare you can access, and paid leave to care for you and your family. All it takes is asking the people who have stolen the wealth in this country to pay what they owe us. So this isn't a dream. It is a demand, and we know it's possible because we've already won pieces of it across the country. We passed first of their kind paid family leave and sick time programs in states like Connecticut and New Jersey. We've guaranteed childcare in New Mexico, and we're about to do it in New York City. We can rack up more wins in state after state and in Congress too, but we can't win any of that if we don't also defend our democracy. So, because at the same time that people are rising up, those in power are trying to rig the game even further. The Supreme Court's decision in Louisiana versus Calais is another attack on the Voting Rights Act and on Black and brown political power. Make no mistake. This is about silencing communities and deciding outcomes before a single vote is cast. So, look, let's be clear. They're trying to take away our voice because they know what happens when we use our voice. They know the power of the people. Even when we don't, they do. But we know this. We know the playbook, and we know how to beat their playbook. We organize, we turn out, and we build power that no map can contain. So if you feel yourself slipping into despair, remember May Day. Remember the workers who showed up, the thousands of actions, the millions of people building this together. That's the power we're working with. And that's what will carry us forward into the fight for the Working Families Guarantee and the fight to defend our democracy. Moving forward, there are 3 things you can do to keep the momentum going. You could join a phone bank and canvass to reach working class voters in key communities like Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Bakersfield, California. You could follow the link, wpus.org/priority. You can also help elect WFP champions across the country by joining upcoming phone banks and canvasses. You could follow the link, wfps.org/volunteer WFP candidates. And you could sign the pledge to support the Working Families Guarantee at wfpus.org/guarantee. Because May Day wasn't the end. It was not the end. This is just the beginning. We're getting started. I hope you all feel that momentum. We're going to organize our communities and build working class power at the ballot box. We're not asking for what we need. We're not asking. The people know what we deserve. We are coming to collect. Thank you. God bless. Let's organize.
That's my party leader right there, y'all. Y'all show some love to Maurice Mitchell. You can join the Working Families Party, and you're seeing again the links in the chat. We want you to hit that wfpus.org/priority. You've already got 2 calls to action. You can support the priority actions this month the WFP is doing to make sure working champions get into elected positions to fight for our folks from the inside out. And you can sign up to stay in touch with folks that are building up Mayday Strong work all across the country in a town or city near you. Please hit those chat links and we will keep it moving. Next up, from one of my favorite unions in the work, the National Nurses United crew, I get to introduce to you Juliette Etienne from New Orleans. Juliette, I'll toss it to you next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Juliette. I'm an emergency room nurse at University Medical Center in New Orleans. Thank you so much for having me on this call. I'm really excited to be talking to all of y'all. We started our 6th strike on May Day, and I'm so proud of all my coworkers, very humbled to see how dedicated all of my colleagues are for putting pressure on our employer and coming out to the picket, coming out to the strike. This weekend, I feel like has been a perfect example of the spirit of May Day. Sorry. So I'm a new grad nurse, which means I've been working as a nurse for under a year. I've worked at University Medical Center for about 10 months now. We are the first nurses union in the state of Louisiana. My brave coworkers started our underground campaign about 3 years ago, and we won our NLRB election in November of 2023, and I've been fighting alongside them since June of last year. The reason we went on strike is because we've been in negotiations for over 2 years and we still don't have a contract. We actually had to file an unfair labor practice charge against LCMC, which is our parent company. And they continue to show up to the bargaining table and go through the motions. They're not taking us seriously about coming to a contract. They'll cancel bargaining days. They won't reschedule them. They think they can just wait us out until we'll get tired and go away. But we've been proving them wrong for 2 years, and especially over the last 5 days during this strike. University Medical Center is a level 1 trauma center, and we're also a designated stroke center and a designated burn center, which means we take care of a lot of very sick patients. We get sent patients from other hospitals all around the area who don't have the specialties or the capability that we have. And as the only unionized hospital in the state of Louisiana, that gives us more protection to stand up and fight back against the hospital with our unsafe staffing, our lack of resources. LCMC is much more concerned with maximizing revenue than with the health of our patients, the well-being of their employees. They want to funnel money to the top and give raises to executives. Instead of staffing us with enough nurses, we need to adequately take care of our patients. Because nurses don't want to have to go on strike. We want to be in the hospital taking care of our patients, but we feel like management has pushed us to the point where our only option is to strike to make them take us seriously. One of the best parts about being part of this coalition and celebrating May Day is we got to organize and promote with lots of other groups in New Orleans. We partnered with Tulane Workers United, who just got their first contract. They were also fighting for over 2 years. We partnered with Step Up Louisiana, who advocates for all workers, and they also spearheaded our historic Workers' Bill of Rights here in New Orleans. And nurses also partner with Union Migrante, who do incredible work defending our undocumented immigrants in the city of New Orleans. Nurses understand how labor issues dovetail with our campaign for Medicare for all, our fight to abolish ICE, and our struggle for healthcare, not wealthcare, or healthcare, not warfare. From Ukraine to Iran to Gaza and Lebanon. It's our job to heal whoever comes into the hospital, regardless of the immigration status or anything else. No human is illegal, and everyone is entitled to basic human rights and a dignified life and a dignified experience in the hospital. It was an incredible experience being out there on the picket line with all of my other brave nurses. I'm excited to see us finally get this contract, and thank you so much for having me on this call.
Juliet, we're sending so much love and solidarity to you and all the nurses in New Orleans and to all of the NNU team. We're so grateful. Thank you for being on with us tonight. Yeah, we're going to keep on keeping on. Our next speaker is the incredible Maggie Costello from the Sunrise Movement at Macalester College in Minnesota. Maggie, I'll toss it to you next.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this call. This is really, really exciting, and this has been really cool to see. I love hearing about what people have been up to in terms of class movements across the US. It's really inspiring and it's really powerful. Yeah, so I'm here because on Friday, May Day, 6 people, including me, blockaded Hennepin Avenue Bridge in Minneapolis by sitting in the road until we were arrested. We stopped traffic for a total of 43 minutes. And for anybody who hasn't sat in the middle of a road before, 43 minutes is a really, really long time to do that. It was, the background noise is a speaker in an airport. Just like, don't worry about that. It's okay. But it's a really long time, and it feels like a really long time. It is really scary. My legs were numb. It was cold. It was probably the third most terrified I've ever been. And, you know, I like to think of myself as someone with really strong, deeply rooted convictions. And it's easy to feel like that and to kind of feel strong in those convictions when you're making the pre-arrest video, when you're surrounded by people that support you and who feel the same way as you. And I think that comes through. You know, I think that the world can be a better, fairer, kinder place than it is now. I believe that putting an end to genocide and imperial expansion, the burning of forests, is worth putting my body on the line. I believe that the lives of people in climate risk zones and the people most impacted by the issues that we're kind of fighting against are valuable enough for me to risk pretty much, you know, anything. And that is, and that's, you know, that's great, and that's great to believe. But as much as I believe that, that was not in my mind the moment that I was on that bridge when the cops pulled up behind us. And, you know, you're sitting there and there are cars in front of you. People are telling those cars to run over you. There's like a cop telling you that you have one chance to leave and you will get just a citation. You'll be able to walk away with no consequences. And in that moment, kind of like there's a lot of like animal gut reaction, fear, and like noise in your brain. And the thought that kind of cut through that was not like, oh, all of these convictions about like why I'm doing this, which I do believe in, which is really important to me. It was Megan is next to me and Megan is staying. And Catherine is next to me and Catherine is staying. And those are my friends. And if they're not moving, I'm not going to move. And I think that that is kind of like how that's how movements succeed. You know, movements don't succeed because of one heroic, fearless individual. They succeed because people are willing to stand by each other when things get difficult. Movements don't succeed because of any individual ever. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. You know, I think a lot, we've been hearing a lot, and you might have heard a lot, that we outnumber them in terms of we outnumber the like 1%. You have the ability to make the world better. If you want a better world, you should do it. And I think that it's really important that we remember that that doesn't mean that you have to be one exceptional person and to do something crazy and alone. it means that all you need to do is like stand with other people. You are not alone. You are part of a larger movement, and that's important. And so that's kind of why Sunrise is a really, really important organization for me. Sunrise is, there are a lot of people in Sunrise. Sunrise has been doing this for a long time. They have a lot of practice, they have a lot of people, and they have a lot of attention. And, you know, I have spent a lot of time wondering why Sunrise is so successful, because we have, and, you know, because I wasn't the only person who did an action with Sunrise. We had people occupying hotels in Portland. We had people occupying Wall Street in New York. We shut down sectors of the economy as much as we could with the numbers that we have. And so just imagine what we could shut down if we had more people, if we got as many people as we could. And that is kind of, Sunrise is only going to get more powerful because, and all of these movements and all of this solidarity is only going to get more powerful the more people that we can convince to join. And they don't need to be like incredible individuals. They don't need to be like fearless. They just need to be willing to join and be willing to take the power that we already have and wield it against billionaires. And we've done it before, and it will happen again. And so that's kind of the main thing. We really are holding a welcome call on Thursday at 8 p.m. The link is in the chat. I think it's been sent like a couple different times. But yeah, we would love to see you there. Sunrise is amazing, and it's really given me so much support. I think the action that I did on May Day was the most organized action I've ever seen. Like it was very well coordinated, and I was really impressed by that. So yeah. And I think that we do have the ability to attack the means of production, to seize the means of production, and to take back what is ours. So yeah.
Maggie, we love you. We love the whole Sunrise team. You're getting so much love in the chat. I hope you get a second to revel in people's gratitude for reminding us that all of our feelings of despair, as Mo mentioned earlier, feelings of fear, are valid, and that we are stronger together, and that strength, that solidarity in practice is an invitation to being courageous in the face of this authoritarian regime. We are grateful for you, Maggie. We're grateful for the Sunrise team. Thanks for being on tonight. So now y'all have got multiple calls to action for all of my homies in the chat and in the Q&A that are like, what's next? What's next? We drop in links. And if the chat is moving too quickly, we're trying to pause it every now and then. But if the chat is moving too quickly and you missed a link, do not sweat it. We're going to make sure that you get them in the email following the call. We love and appreciate you. And we're going to keep dropping links in the chat. The most recent is join the Sunrise Welcome Call, y'all. We're going to put that link in the chat again. We hope to see you all there. Y'all, a quick reminder, because our next speaker is going to be speaking in Spanish. I want to make sure you all can hear the interpretation. So if you have not yet gone to the globe at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you might have to click the three dots where it says more to see it. If you don't see it immediately on the bottom of your screen, I want you to click those three dots. I want you to find the globe. And I want you, if you are an English speaker, to pick English. If you are a Spanish speaker, I want you to pick Spanish so that we can all hear the brilliance of our next speaker. With no further ado, I want to bring up David Trujillo, SEIU United Service Workers West, who worked for a contractor of United Airlines at the San Francisco airport. Brother David, I will toss it to you next.
Hola. Hola a todos, espero
Hello,
que me estén
everyone. I
escuchando.
hope
Mi
you
nombre
are
es David
listening to me.
Trujillo
My name is
Abreu
David
y
Trujillo
trabajaba como
Abrego,
agente de
and
lavatorio
I
en el
used to work
Aeropuerto
as an
Internacional de San
agent at
Francisco.
the International
También
Airport
soy
in San
miembro de
Francisco. I'm also a member SAIU, the US
y
WWW.
estoy muy emocionado
I'm
de
very
hablar
excited
esta tarde
to be
con todos
speaking
ustedes,
here this
mis
afternoon, evening with all
compañeros.
of you. my
trabajamos en el
colleagues
aeropuerto,
who
hacemos labores
work at the
esenciales
airport,
para el
we do
aeropuerto y
essential
para que
work
todo
for the
funcione sin
airport so
problemas.
that everything can run
Limpiamos
perfectly.
cabinas de los
We
aviones, agentes de rampa,
clean inside
asistentes de sillas de
the
ruedas, viajeros,
airplanes. We
agentes
help
migratorios como
people with
yo, que
disabilities
sacamos
with
los desechos
wheelchair,
de
and
los baños del avión.
also we clean the
Y sin su arduo
bathroom
trabajo, los
of the
aviones de los
airplane.
cuales todos
And
viajamos
also,
nunca
if
despegarían.
there's something
Y,
that's not
sin embargo,
done
a
right
pesar
on
de lo
the airplane,
esencial que
the
es todo
airplane
este
would never take
trabajo,
off. So it's
la
essential, all of the
mayoría de
work that we do.
nosotros nos
The
pagan
vast majority
apenas
of us, they
poco
only
más de
pay
$22
less than
la hora.
$22 an
En el área de
hour.
la bahía, eso
And
no alcanza
the
para
Bay
sobrevivir.
State is
Silicon
not enough
Valley y las
to
grandes
live
empresas
because
tecnológicas del área de la
we
bahía
see the
han
huge
encarecido el costo de
tech
vida
growth
y la mayoría de
due to
nosotros no
that
somos
the
ingenieros de
price
software
of
y aún así
the
la vida en
living
San Francisco y sus
here is so
alrededores
expensive.
está
We are
cotizada
not
para
engineers
esos
in the tech
salarios
company,
y esos
and
ingresos tan elevados. Durante
the
más de un año
living
hemos
conditions
estado
and the price
negociando
is so
con los
expensive that we
contratistas
cannot
que nos
afford that.
emplean.
We have been
Ellos
talking
se han negado a
to
negociar
the
con nosotros de
contractors
buena fe
who
mientras
are
seguimos
not,
recibiendo
they
un
do not
salario
want to bargain
insuficiente.
in good
Es
faith,
por eso que el
and
1
we're
de
not
mayo
making
realizamos una marcha
enough
del Día
salary.
Internacional
That's
de los
why on May
Trabajadores
1st,
en el
we
aeropuerto de
joined the
San Francisco.
International May Day
Este
at
día
the
tuvimos
International
el apoyo de
Airport in San
organizaciones
Francisco. We
comunitarias,
had so many supports
otros
from different community
sindicatos,
organizations, other unions,
supervisores de San Francisco
supervisors
y un
from
senador
San
estatal.
Francisco, and a state
No puedo
senator.
mencionar todos los
I
nombres
cannot
porque
mention all
tardaría
of the
mucho,
names because it will take me
pero en
too
total
long.
alrededor de
But
25 personas
what
que
about
participaron en desobediencia civil
25 people
fueron
who decided
arrestadas
to
por la causa
take
de
direct
los
action?
trabajadores y
They
del
got
aeropuerto,
arrested for our
quienes
cause,
en
the
gran
cause of the
parte
workers and
somos
the airport workers,
inmigrantes como yo.
because most of us are
Los
immigrants like myself.
empleados
The
tenemos miedo de hacer
employees, we are
a veces algunas
afraid
acciones
to
porque por
take some
supuesto van
actions
a
because,
repercutir
of
seriamente
course,
en un
there will
proceso
be
de legalización, un
repercussions
proceso de
with
estatus.
respect
Pero
to our
estas
immigration status.
organizaciones,
But these
estos
organizations,
representantes de la ciudad,
these
estos líderes sindicales sí
leaders,
pudieron hacer
state
eso en
elected
solidaridad a
folks
nosotros.
who join us, and they were in
Ese
solidarity
día
fight.
nos ayudó mucho a
That
hacer
it
visible
helped
todo
us a
esto
lot
ante el
to
público, ante
visualize
las
our
autoridades del
struggle
aeropuerto,
in front
ante
of the
las
authorities of the
aerolíneas y sobre
airport,
todo ante los trabajadores
airlines, the
de
public,
todo el
and the
país.
workers around
Merecemos
the
un trato
country.
justo,
We deserve
un
a
salario
fair
equilibrado
treatment, a
por todo
balanced
el trabajo
salary
tan duro que
because of
realizamos
all of,
y equipo
due to all of the work that
profesional
we do, and
y seguro
also
para nuestro trabajo.
professional equipment and
Seguiremos
safety
uniendo
at work.
voces
We
y
will keep
acciones
joining our
alrededor de
voices and
nuestras
take
demandas
actions
hasta
around our
convertirlas
demands
en realidad.
until
Para
we
terminar,
make it a
me
reality
llama mucho
to
la
end up.
atención
It brings
que otros
it
rubros tan
cuts my
importantes como la salud,
attention,
que
like
acabo de escuchar
other
nuestra compañera del
frameworks that
sindicato
I
de
heard
enfermeros
from,
y
like
enfermeras,
the nurses
tengan estas
union,
mismas
that they also
carencias,
have the
estas mismas
same
problemáticas
struggles, the same
y
issues,
sobre todo que tenemos un
and
gran país, una
above
gran
everything that
economía
we
y
have
que
a
tenemos
very
que seguir
wealthy
trabajando y
country, a
luchando por
huge
esto. Muchas
economy, and
gracias
that we have to
por
keep
esta
fighting back and
participación.
keep
Buenas tardes a
being
todos.
together strongly. Thank you for everything, and have a good evening.
David, we love you. Thank you for being on with us tonight. Y'all, we're going to keep pushing these calls to action. I need you to make sure you're grabbing these links. So, for folks that are wondering how you can get involved, we've dropped our partner forum. We want to make sure that you're connected to the Mayday Strong movement so that you can be abreast of all of the next steps that we're going to be sharing tonight and beyond it. Y'all make sure that you do it. And when you've done it, I want you to prove it. I want you to tell me in the chat that you got it done. I want you to go on socials, invite other people, hashtag Mayday Strong so we can track it. Be sure that you're inviting other people to throw down with you to build this working people's power, y'all. We love and appreciate you. Next, we're going to bring up two speakers, Max Harmon, a high school carpentry teacher and president-elect of the Chatham County Association of Educators, and Aurelio Estevez, a multilingual learner, teacher, and a Chatham County Association of Educators union leader. Y'all show some love for Max and Aurelio.
Hey y'all, how's it going? This is Max. Alirio and I are coming to you from Chatham County in North Carolina, where we both teach in a small town. You might know North Carolina as a place that has one of the lowest union densities in the entire United States. You might know it as a place that has a lot of labor laws very hostile to the kind of work we're trying to do. You might not know that last Friday on May Day, over 90,000 public school workers did not work at the school building that day. That's a majority of all public school workers in North Carolina. And they were not in the classroom, not because they wanted a day off, but because they knew that they had work to do in our state capital in Raleigh. So we were shutting down, again, a majority of all public school workers that day because we were launching what we're calling our Kids Over Corporations campaign. We launched that on May Day. Kids Over Corporations speaks to the actual reality in North Carolina, which is that our legislators, who because of gerrymandered maps have a near supermajority in our legislature, have decided to give billions of dollars every single year to corporate tax cuts instead of to the public schools. And so Kids Over Corporations is what we're saying our state actually demands and deserves. And we believe, and I think we have good evidence to back it up, that a super majority of people in North Carolina and actually in the entire United States believe in supporting our kids more than they believe in giving welfare checks to corporations in the form of tax breaks. So this is a super majority issue that we are fighting, lifting up loudly and clearly on May Day, right? That kids deserve to be put first and not corporations. And we as public school workers are going to stand up and do it. I want to say just a couple of things about how we pulled it off, what it means, and then I'm going to pass to Alirio to talk a few more details. We pulled this off, y'all, not just in the big cities, right? The progressive bastions. We closed school districts around the state in rural areas, suburban and urban. And again, we did that on the theory that people actually believe in public education and the notion that every child deserves a right to a good education. We also did that with structure-based organizing, which means despite the fact that we don't have collective bargaining or the right to strike in North Carolina, we do know how to organize and we're not playing around. And so when we went out and closed our school districts, we, Alirio and I, and the county that we belong to, Chatham County, small county, we actually were the first district to close. And we did that because we figured out how many school teachers putting in a day, like calling out sick more or less, would overwhelm the substitute teacher system. And we talked to all of our colleagues and we had lists and we went door to door and we had conversations, not just with Democrats, right? We talked to our people, Republican, Democrat, Independent, because actually all of us believe that our kids deserve the best. And that gave us the confidence that, hey, we actually did have the numbers in order to shut down the district. And we succeeded in doing so in Chatham County. And we were the first domino that then cascaded around the state of North Carolina. So in North Carolina, we're proving that people care about kids, public education, and working people more than they do about corporate tax cuts. So again, I just want to make this point and then pass to Alirio. We're lifting up the notion with the Kids Over Corporations campaign, not just that our state should be allocating public resources towards real public services, but also that we as public school workers are going to stand up for democracy itself. Because we as public school workers believe that our kids deserve to grow up in a democracy. And that's our business, right? And there's nobody else who's coming to save us or our kids. It's going to have to be us. And so we're stepping up and making that clear. Part of our demands, we're noting that, hey, every single person deserves to live and grow up free from fear and violence and intimidation, no matter where you were born. That means everybody's constitutional rights need to be protected, again, regardless of where you were born. So we are asserting ourselves as public school workers. Hey, if things go weird in November, we are going to be there, right? We are going to be standing up and making clear that our kids deserve to grow up in a democracy free from fear, violence, and intimidation and authoritarianism. And I'm going to pass to Alirio to tell us a little bit about how our work in Kids Over Corporations connects directly as well to our fight against immigration and customs enforcement and authoritarianism in general.
Alirio, you're on mute, love.
Sorry. Last week, last October, November, ICE was around our area, and we, the teachers, along with other groups of allies, were able to organize. So we were able to create groups who would patrol the schools and make sure our kids were safe. We make sure that the parents knew they were safe. So we got channels directly to communicate with the parents. So we tell them, okay, everything is cool in the school, so you you're free. You can send your children to the school. Don't be afraid, because we teachers, we stand up for everybody. We love our children. We love our families. We care about them. We care about everybody, no matter where they come from, no matter their status, no matter their economic status. We want everybody to have the right to a good education. And that's what we were doing. We were standing together against authoritarian, totalitarian government, because we believe in democracy, and we know that working together as a community, as an organization, we can protect it ourselves. We are the ones who can protect ourselves. We don't have to wait for anybody else. We organize and we can do it. We prove it here in Chatham County, and I guess we can do it at the national level. Thank you.
Yo, Max, Alirio, we love y'all. Shout out to Chatham County. Shout out to NCAE, one of the baddest to ever do it. Long live Red for Ed. We're so grateful that y'all were here. We're so grateful for all of the interventions you made on May Day. Y'all, next, my brother Alex Hine, a brilliant brain and hard, heavy worker for Mayday Strong, to talk to us a little bit about what just happened and what comes next. Alex, I'll toss it to you.
Thank you, Ash. We've heard a lot of inspiring stories from around the country, and we saw thousands of actions, over 5,000 actions that were on the MaydayStrong.org website on our map. We tracked probably several thousand more, from high school student walkouts to strikes, like you heard from Juliette Etienne in New Orleans. We saw renters and tenants in Bozeman, Montana vote to go on a rent strike on May Day. We've seen really amazing action around the country. It is impossible to list them all on a call like this. I'm thinking a bit about what Maggie from Minnesota kind of shared about the fear that she was feeling, but also the connection to other people who were taking action and taking risks together in order to fight for something that we all believe in, which is a real better future, real democracy, and to fight against the authoritarian threat in this country. Now, we are not outlining here in this call exactly, we are not mapping out everything that comes next. There is a lot of work to do. One thing that we are working to do, and it's why we continue to put the link in the chat to connect with Mayday Strong partners, is that a lot of the work that happens next is going to be happening in our cities, in our towns, creating relationships between people that are going to help sustain us. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't large-scale actions to do. I know I answered a few questions from people in the Q&A, when is the next No Kings? When is the next large rally? All of those things are going to be shared over the coming weeks and months. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get involved. I really want to encourage people to go to that link to connect with Mayday Strong partners, to organize not just those large scale actions that we're going to be moving nationally, but to figure out what our plans are for our cities, for our towns, how we're going to think about this coming November and the aftermath there. So, we call these a structure test. That is the truth. That is a phrase that organizers use. We pick a day and we say, what can we do? On Friday, we saw a lot of amazing possibility. We know that we don't get to pick the day and time. I know that our friends in Tennessee, in Alabama, in Louisiana, who are fighting back against this racist attempt to take back the Voting Rights Act, to take away the rights of Black people to vote. They didn't choose and plan for the time and place of that fight, but they're taking it on where they are. So I'd encourage people, again, join your local Mayday Strong partner, get connected, and we can figure out a way to move forward. We're going to be plotting out really specific next steps that are going to be happening in our communities going forward. So with that, Ash, I want to hand it back to you to close us out. Looks like we're right on time.
Alex, we're so grateful. And to everybody that wants more information about all of the many, many, many ways you all made history on May Day, I want you to check out the link that tech support just dropped in the chat to read a little bit about the impact. And y'all, we're finding out about stuff that people did that we didn't put up, that they didn't put on that map. by the second. So we're excited to continue to share that as we become even more aware of the ways that folks made history across the country on May Day. You heard it here first, folks. We are building on the successful, widespread, and economically disruptive actions from May Day to build the power of labor and community together to defend and expand our civil rights, our labor rights, immigrant rights, all of our rights in a period of growing and consolidating authoritarianism, war, and attacks on all of our civil liberties. Y'all, we're learning from No Kings 3. And we're leaning into the 250th anniversary celebrations in this country that are attempts to rekindle our commitments to a democracy not undermined by gerrymandering, unaccountable and undemocratic executives, and unelected Supreme Court justices, billionaires that buy their access and control over the government while receiving record tax breaks at our expense. We will have to run more solidarity schools to prepare our coalitions locally and nationally to combat the incoming attacks by this regime, to fight an illegal war, to defend democracy, and to tax the right to get our people the things that they need. We have to determine our canvases in ways that don't just get the vote out for November, but help us go after bad billionaire bosses and this landlord in the White House. Y'all, we have to mobilize in a way that not only makes sure our votes get counted, but make sure that we have such an overwhelming amount of support at the polls that this election cannot be stolen. And when they try, that we will be so perfectly positioned to make their repression backfire. Y'all, now is the time that we should not be backing away. This is all gas, no brakes kind of time. I want you to feel invited to be a part of the critical infrastructure of May Day Strong. I want you to feel invited to make their evil uncomfortable. I want you to feel invited and committed to taking this knowledge, all this incredible sharing that the leaders that were on this call did with you tonight, all the links and calls to action that they gave. I want you to feel knighted to evangelize the gospel of working people. So go out, do something. Take this new knowledge and change the material conditions of our people with it. I want you to invite some more folks to join us, and I want to see you in the streets with us as we continue to build worker and community power together. Y'all, it has been an incredible call. Thank you for not regarding it robbery to be here with us. I love you, I respect you, and I want you to be free. We'll see you next time.